Hello, you found three people in a room who think they know everything, but we got nothing. Welcome to We Got Nothing, Episode 1. My name's Francis Leach. I'm here with Bianca Chatfield and Craig Harper.
Speak for yourself.
What do we know?
That we're all here together. It's good to be here, Craig. The very first one. Crack that champagne bottle over the front of
Yes, let's do something
Yeah,
festive,
let's start
shall we?
drinking, shall we, Craig?
Well, let's do that. It is indeed episode 1 of We've Got Nothing. We were sitting here 14 seconds ago going, what will we call it? What are we talking about? We've got no direction, which is probably, it's a nice kind of foundation for the show because we want to keep the bar low and we don't want anyone's expectations to be too high.
So we can clamber over it.
Yeah, exactly. Is it
There's no theme. There's no theme. It's just people chatting.
just anything goes?
Anything goes. Now, for those
Okay.
people who don't know who Bianca, Jane, Veronica, Wilma, Malaria Chatfield is,
Malaria. That's been added. Lee is my middle name,
ex-athlete.
just in case you're wondering.
ex-athlete, and now woman about town, businesswoman, mogul, property developer, media commentator. What are
Yep.
you doing? What are you up to?
There is so much going on. I was just telling Frankie J over here that I'm a bit overwhelmed with life. Playing netball last 15, 17 years, you're just completely under one structure. You know when to go to training, you know what you have to do, you've got people telling you everything, and now all of a sudden I'm out on my own in this big bad world and I'm being consumed by all these amazing opportunities, but it's hard to know what to say yes to and what to say no to. And
What's the thing you love most that you're now allowed to do that you weren't able to do when you were a superstar netballer?
probably just say yes to a glass of wine whenever I feel like it. That's pretty cool. I'm sure you love doing that too, Craig.
All over
The
it.
teetotaler over
alcohol.
there.
Boringestmaninaustralia.com hashtag.
And just be able to do social things. Like I went to Bali last week because I had 5 days free in my schedule and I could just go. So I loved that.
You didn't have to tell the USADA drug testers or anything. You could just go.
Yeah, I could just go.
Is it good not having to wee in small glass containers with a woman standing there watching you trying to just build up some momentum?
Yep, that's pretty good too. I'm
How often does that, is that like
drug
a very
testing
rare
is what
thing?
Craig's talking about.
A very
It's not something you just do.
there's that.
New,
That as
new
well.
party trend that you're just revealing here.
It's not what this podcast is about.
How
But
often
it could be.
It could
Okay.
be. You never know.
How often? 2 to 3 times a year, depending on, like in the lead up to a Com Games, you got done more. If it was a year where there was nothing major happening, it wasn't that often. So I think it costs about nearly $1,000 each drug test. So
Wow.
they don't do it that often in a sport like netball.
Do you want to be able to give them a decent sample for their money, wouldn't you?
I tell you what, you wouldn't want to be too frugal. Say $1,000 for that.
Do you know,
I'm trying.
if you drink too much water, because as soon as you know you're being tested, you just scull the water down.
Yeah.
However, if it's too diluted, then you have to wait until you can go again.
Because it's not.
Because the pH level,
Concentrated,
it's
really?
not concentrated enough. So
This podcast has taken a really weird turn. Really
No, I
straight
think
up.
if you're not talking about wee in the first 10 minutes, you're just not doing a quality product. You're just not wheeling. Well, speaking of wee, I'm going to just jump right in here. I've been watching this thing on Bear Grylls. Do you like Bear Grylls or not like Bear Grylls?
I know of his work.
Right.
He scares
I'm
me
the
a bit.
same. I've not really watched it. I've
Really?
been watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, though.
Well,
I'd like to put Bear Grylls in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of
I
Here.
want to punch you in the face for watching that. I want to lean over. If you're a bloke, I would. Okay, so speaking of pee, there's a correlation. So Bear Grylls has got this show where he takes, I'm going to say 10 celebrities into seriously deepest, darkest jungle, like full on.
Not proper one, not one with a
yeah,
smoky room like
no.
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
No, not not Central Park in New York. No, it's proper jungle, and so they're doing all the normal crap. It's raining. Put up your tent, and I'll see you in 16 hours. And try not to kill each other, and eat your rations, and try to start a fire and all that. That's cool. So a few tears and a few breakdowns because they're not really built for the jungle. These celebrities. Day 3. Okay, here's a little jar. Go and wee in that. Right? They're all like, all right, what's this about? And then later in the day, they've all got to drink their wee.
No.
And I'm not talking about a thimble. I'm talking about 300-400 mil. Just all of them. And they're just downing their wee because
Like
it's
a
part
pint
of
of bitter from a British pub.
Oh,
Nice and warm.
yeah. Well, that's straight out warm. straight out warm, and
What-
that's when it's the best. You can't if you're going to drink your wee, and I know everybody will be on the edge of their seat with their notepad right now.
If you're going to do it.
If you're going to drink your wee, there's two ways you can do it. You've got to do it straight away, or you've got to keep it and then boil it later.
Can
Why?
we wind it back to what would be the benefits of doing that?
Well, survival.
If that was the last of...
Yeah.
That's your
We're
last
not
resort.
talking about it's Saturday, I'm bored, I'm going to drink my piss.
Unless
But-
you're a rugby league player where it has been known to be the party trick of choice.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
Todd Carney,
No.
famously,
No.
and he.
No.
Where
And-
were you, Craig? This was last year, wasn't
And
it?
not only did he drink his own wee,
What?
but he also
Did he
and
put it
Craig-
in a vessel, or did he just
No,
lay
no,
on
no,
his
no,
back?
No. Craig,
Oh.
he managed to acrobatically wee into his own mouth.
Wow.
This podcast has gone very wrong
Wow.
very quickly.
Wow,
but
that's-
it was
that's all
it's a
good.
thing called, and I did not know that this was a thing, but it was referred to as bubbling.
What?
What?
Boys,
How?
you're so gross.
Suggested that it had happened on more
Such
than
a
one
boy
occasion.
thing.
Don't make that a boy thing. That's a
That's
Todd
a
Well, I'm pretty
dick.
sure
That's
girls
a
can't do that.
Dickhead thing.
Hey,
Quite
I
literally
was
that.
going to say that. What position? I'm just trying to.
Hang on.
It's in my mind.
I'm going to find
trying
you the
to.
picture because there's a
Can you
picture on
find me the
social
picture?
media.
Uh-oh.
It went everywhere last year. If you actually used your Twitter account, you
At
would
least
probably have seen it.
We are talking rugby league players, and at least there were no canines involved. So that's that's a win for Todd. It was.
Melissa, our producer, is laughing. Melissa, can you look on your little computer in front of you, Todd Carney,
and bubbling.
bubbling?
This is
Just can you Google that because I might come around and
Oh,
have a look
actually,
at that.
it's blurred out, but that's what he did.
See.
Oh, I see. Oh, goody. Look at him. Look at him there.
look at him there.
Oh, look at him
He's
there. Now,
not-
Melissa, can you put that camera on me? And we don't really.
See, there
it's
he
not-
is.
I don't
Now-
know that this is.
Lucky
bloody-
we got the blurred out version.
So we've gone from
So-
Bianca having a holiday in Bali to Todd Carney
To not
at the
being drug
urinal
tested.
in the space of 5 minutes.
Oh, what am I doing? Is that better? Is that,
What is he actually doing there, Craig?
well, he looks. Yeah.
Talk
See,
it through.
all right. So, for the viewers, for the listeners that aren't watching, he is standing at the urinal. He's quite deep in hip flexion. He's got his whizzer in his hand, and one would assume quite amount of velocity because
Yes.
there's a probably almost a 2 foot kind of distance required to exit one orifice and enter another.
And while it's travelling that distance, do you not sit there, Todd, and go, what am I doing? You've got that split second to go, I really shouldn't be doing this.
And in that split second, someone's taken a photo.
Oh, of course.
Perfect.
Good old Snapchat. Bang, got you.
What? I know that I'm 100 years old, but
Oh,
what?
is Snapchat?
What Snapchat is where you take a picture and then you send it, but then it disappears.
Picture, video, whatever.
Right.
And you can set how long you want the picture to last for
Yeah.
when you send it on to whoever you like. So this picture, mostly, if it's under 2 seconds, then it's probably okay. Anything over that, you can just screenshot it.
Right.
Which is the problem that Jake Carlisle of the Essendon Football Club found
Yeah.
himself with.
But there's also these apps now that are called like Snap Save. So anything that people send me in
Right.
Snapchat, I'll open it in another app and it automatically saves everything everyone sends me anyway. So that's how the media get onto the videos people put up. And
So the difference between Snapchat and Instagram. Instagram's just photos, right?
oh yeah, and it's there. You want it to stay there.
Forever.
Yeah, Instagram's everyone's
Are
highlight.
you still
reel.
taking Polaroids?
I've got a
What is
bloody.
going on with you?
I've got a Kodak box eye brownie or brown eye boxy. You know,
That's what his next move was, the brown eye box.
I've got one of those
It's
things where
also-
you put the cloak over your head.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
okay.
big-
I'm with you now.
That'll be coming back soon anyway.
Well, he
It's
only
retro.
upgraded from a Nokia, 3110.
Can I
to
tell
an
you that
iPhone
I got
last
this little
year.
iPhone? Oh no, this is my second iPhone, but I had Bianca Jane Chatfield. Bianca, what's your middle name really? Sarah.
Lee.
Bianca Lee Chatfield, just giving me shit for about 3 years about the prototype Nokia. The Nokia Museum kept ringing me as well, going, get that shit back to us.
Did it flip open?
No, it didn't. It was a brick on the table. And
Hmm.
I'm like, life is so much easier. You must admit that. Now
Yeah.
you've got an
Oh, well,
iPhone.
I mean,
you
the
can
thing
do so
is-
much more. You don't have to be tied to a computer.
Well, the thing is that it's not a phone. It's a computer that has
Yeah.
a very minor function called the phone.
What
So-
about Frankie J over here with his Apple iWatch?
I know.
What have you
I'm
got there?
He is completely ahead of the
fully
game.
integrated, Craig.
Creepers. Is that
They
the
own me.
$1,000 one or the $12,000
Oh
one?
no, that is the cheap plastic one.
Really?
Yeah.
He's
Is it-
got his text messages rolling through on his.
What's the go with that?
Watch?
What? Oh, so you get texts on that?
I could, yes, but I also use it in your. Like I just went out for a run earlier today. It's a heart rate monitor and tells me how many k's I've run and how quick my heart's
But you
beating.
need your phone with you to answer calls.
Yes,
Right.
It's Bluetooth. Do you know what that is?
No, really. No, I kind of do.
Don't
Is
even
this
waste your
podcast
energy.
going out as in Morse code? Is that what we're?
We're sending it out in tablets, aka the Old Testament. Either that or a carrier pigeon is going to deliver it
Bianca,
to.
can we show the public Craig's
Oh,
recharge?
yes.
It's like it was built at Chernobyl. Look
this-
at it.
So your iPhone comes with a battery, but Craig's decided to
This-
have one that
hey,
he carries around
hey.
with his phone.
This is bloody magic. I thought this was state of the art, but it's just been revealed to me pre-podcast that that's
Twice as heavy as your phone.
it's at least it's
Listen
heavy.
to that.
It's
Bang.
heavy.
Listen, bang. He's a creature of comfort, though, Craig, aren't you?
He likes heavy.
You
I
need
do.
to have all your little things.
Whatevs.
Set,
Whatevs.
organised.
You must acknowledge that this is something of a graduation and a progression for me.
Oh, it's huge. Like you don't have to plug your phone into the wall.
Have I been
now,
a
so-
constant source of technological disappointment to you?
a little bit.
Of all of
I
your
like that
friends?
slowly, after 10 years of telling you, you start to embrace.
Is there a piece of technology that you really have embraced and enjoyed?
Well, other than the phone,
Yeah. Something that
Facebook.
no, I mean, like I was, no, not really.
You
I
have.
mean,
You're
I'm
good on
Fa-
Facebook.
Well, I'm okay on Facebook, but I'm not good technologically. Like I'm good at writing stuff and sharing messages and.
But you're now videoing and putting
well,
them up.
I've put up a couple of
Yep.
videos, which is very state of the art and very progressive for me. It's only about 15 years
I
old.
was actually thinking, have you seen any of his videos?
Yes.
Yep. He posts his
Okay,
new
what are, you,
videos.
what, are
and
your
his
what are your thoughts?
daily messages that he's putting up. I'm more intrigued about what you're wearing for them because I was thinking
What are you saying?
usually got a black t-shirt or
What
a
are you
black
saying?
top on, and then the other day you had a green hoodie on. I thought, good work, Craig.
State of the art.
Just
and
brings
did
out
you
your
notice
eyes.
I had a little bit of unzip action, right? And just about
No,
four
I didn't
tough
notice
to.
that. I
you
wasn't looking down there.
You so did. You don't. You're like, don't pretend that there's not a little bit of something in you
Every-
that kind
ev-
of goes.
I'm not pretending. I laughed at everyone's comments though because everyone's saying, "Oh, that's really thoughtful." Whatever you're saying, I was just purely going to comment and go, "Great top."
You should have done.
Yeah.
Should have gone shit message, awesome top.
Yeah,
I'm only going to watch it.
highlights your eyes.
I'm only going to watch for fashion tips from now on.
that's right. So now every time you do it, you got to wear something different.
I'm not really sure about the Facebook thing because everybody says to me now, or some people say to me now, go and do the public profile thing because I've got
Yes.
thousands. But then someone said, yeah, but if you do that when you share your messages, only a small percentage of the people who follow you get them versus 100% now. What are your thoughts?
Well,
Discuss.
Well, I don't know the exact details around that. I thought it was the same.
Because apparently, Melissa, is that right? The reach is less?
So Facebook own your friends, you see. They
And they want you to pay for
yes.
promotion too.
They do.
The advertising.
Well, they're trying to monetize it because it's the biggest thing in the world that was making no money for a long time,
I
wasn't it?
think it's going all right
Correct.
now.
I think they're
I
going
think
okay.
he's doing okay.
Do you what's your favourite social media platform?
Twitter's been really good for me.
Yeah, I like Twitter.
Yeah, I know some people don't like it. I think you've got to be careful how you curate it and how I learnt very early on the arts of the arts of the dialogue on Twitter because you can, if you are a little bit emotive, just respond on it in an endless war against other tweeters. And I think that and I've seen people do that. I've seen people get what I call tweet line fever. Really rational people get start up a Twitter account and just end up in endless verbal wars with
Yes.
strangers. And I think the way that you converse with people, the language you use, how you choose to respond, you've got to have some hard rules around how you respond and how you treat people with respect. And I found it a really powerful tool. I've
Yeah.
managed as a professional broadcaster to make connections with other broadcasters and people all over the world in really short time. The best example of that in recent times was, and it's an unhappy example, but when the attacks in Paris happened at the end of last year, I
Yep.
was on the radio doing a broadcast that morning, and I was trying to find somebody who was in the stadium at the Stade de France for that game that France were playing. I think it was against England in Paris. And so I just tweeted a few people that I knew were possibly there, and just put out a tweet saying, if you were there, can you get in contact with me so I can talk to you about it? And within 30 seconds, I had 3 people
Wow.
just say, yeah, I'm here. And if you need, I'll direct message me your number. So that incredibly powerful access to people. So it can be an infinite form of dead shits if you want it to be. If
Yeah,
that's the world you want
that's
it.
right.
But if you use it well and you treat it with respect and you treat people with respect and you're really disciplined when people do try to troll you, not to respond and waste a single breath on it, it can be a great platform.
Well,
Really
ultimately,
exciting.
all those things are resources that are good or bad or
But the
valuable.
fascinating thing, Craig, I want to know is when people do decide to be dead shits, and I've seen people who are, and you must have, as a sports person, Bianca, you must know this too, who in their daily lives present as really interesting, funny people, but they get an opportunity to let their lesser selves run loose on this paddock of stupidity. And they say the most incredibly nasty and awful things. And you think you would never, ever say that to someone if they were sitting here with you
No.
and I now. So that is a really interesting mirror on human nature and how people allow themselves to be maybe what they really are inside or what they wouldn't allow themselves to be if they actually had to deal with people in a genuine relationship.
Yeah, that's the disappointing part about it,
Yeah.
isn't it? There's so many little keyboard warriors out there that are just on there to cause a stir or be nasty and negative. But
Yeah.
I love it as a news
Or
source,
posting
though.
their bubbling photos, which are endlessly funny too.
Like-
Did he post that or some? Probably.
As if he did.
As if, yeah.
He lost his career over it, didn't he? Or does
Pretty
he still
much.
play?
No.
I'm not up to date with that.
But who would have thought that social media, which was poo-pooed when it first, people like, that's garbage, that's not going to work, would turn into the fucking Goliath that it is now with just so much stuff, like so many businesses, so many opportunities, so much momentum, and such a massive invasion into the lives of virtually everyone in the world.
I mean, it's like reality telly, isn't it? That we get insight into everybody's lives now. For me, as a female athlete, we're not known for getting a lot of media, but that gave us a voice and it made people kind of stand up and listen to us more because it
Did you
allowed
really
us to
feel that?
talk
Did-
about. Yes,
yeah.
for sure. And like the more I would talk about other things, other topics that weren't just about netball, then you'd get more people ringing you and
Correct.
wanting you to join in the conversation and kind of appreciating that you are more than just a netballer.
Yeah.
And that's why I've embraced it. I love social media. I use it a lot. But like you said, I'm very careful about what I respond to and how I respond because that's my brand that I'm putting out there.
Yeah, that's that lesson that as broadcasters and people in the media, you do realise that every tweet or every post is like a microphone. You are behind a
Yeah.
microphone, so you have to own that forever. So whereas I think a lot of people in public post things and they who are not in public life post things that they would, if they were ever revisited or exposed again, might be deeply embarrassed about.
What did you think about Liz Cambridge and her little post last week?
I
Are you
thought-
up to date with that, Craig?
Yes. What was the name of the... so, for people who missed the story, one of her teammates went to a
All I
fancy
know is
dress.
her first name is Alice.
Cuny?
Yeah,
Kunik.
Cuny? She went to a fancy dress party as Kanye West, and all hell broke loose when Liz said,
Well, she went in blackface, which has a long and troubled history when it comes to racial division. And I think Liz was entitled to be upset about it. And it's a shame that it became about the athlete who posted that picture because I
Yeah.
think the lesson from that wasn't so much, or it should never have been a judgment on her character. It might have been done out of ignorance without understanding the implications of what she was doing.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's as someone might say, it was a teaching moment. But instead, it became about Liz's response. In the same way it became about Adam Goods' response to the incident at the MCG when he called out that young girl for being
Yeah.
racist. It once again is trying to control how the victims of racism, in whichever form it takes, should respond. So we not only feel like we can set the agenda and say what we want, but when they respond in a way that we don't like, we can tell people how they should respond. So I thought she was entitled to be angry about it. But we didn't get to talk about why blackface was wrong because we were too busy concerned about whether this young girl had done the right or wrong thing or it was a question of her character. I mean, blackface goes back to the early 19th century, particularly in the southern part of the United States where it originated as a form of derision of slaves, basically. And it was used very much in a political context back then to paint African Americans as dumb, lazy and stupid as a way to be a counterbalance against any push for the end of slavery. And it had that tradition that has continued all the way through. it was used by Al Jolson in the 1920s in nightclubs across the United States, and others would use it in the same nightclubs where blacks, they would be lampooned, but they were never allowed to come in and buy a drink. I mean, so it can't be separated from its history. And
I agree, but my question is, I reckon if you said to, what's her first name? Alice, do you know what blackface is before all of this? She wouldn't have even known that. She wouldn't know what it is. No. She wouldn't know what it means. And I also think, and I'm not saying that she didn't do anything stupid. She did. But my question would be, was she even thinking? Like, I would suspect that she on no level thought she was being offensive. She just thought she was imitating somebody.
She was at a dress-up party.
Yeah,
she was
I
having
don't.
fun. She wasn't.
And so I get Liz's response. I get it, but I also get that this girl, she must be going, what on earth did I even...
Yes.
She could have gone as bloody, David Bowie. No one would care.
No.
But it so happened that but where do we go? Well, what if somebody else, what if another person, another Indigenous Australian saw that, or anyone with darker skin saw that and wasn't offended? Like, is it globally offensive or is it personally offensive? And does it make a difference?
Well, I'm not sure about that. The thing that annoyed me about the whole situation was, like we were talking about with social media, you make a decision about what you're going to post.
Yeah.
If that was my teammate, I'm not going to go to social media to address that issue. I'm going to go to the team and talk about it with the player and then talk about it as a team and how we're going to move forward. I just think she chose the wrong forum to bring that up because she obviously wanted the attention attached to it as well. So that's the bit that annoys me.
How often is there stuff between teammates where, like, it would seem like you played at a national level for a lot of years, you were captain of the only professional netball, captain of the Melbourne Vixens, you were with the Phoenix and you played for Australia 100 odd times or whatever you did. How many times did you have awkward, if not problematic, relationships with someone in the team? We don't need to know who.
No,
but it would be good.
There was definitely
We'd like a name. We'd like a name.
Here we go.
Write it down.
Write them down here.
And show the camera.
It won't be on Facebook or Twitter at all.
Occasionally, but I was also having to deal as a captain with two different players, within the team that would have issues with each other. So
because you're kind of a little bit. What's the word?
Where's this
like
going?
No. Well, you like me in that you just say what you think.
Yeah.
I don't think that you
not everyone
lack emotional intelligence. I think you have a high EQ, but I also think you don't suffer fools. So,
but it's also isn't it also better to actually confront an issue like that? I know Liz probably chose a public forum which escalated things in a way that I think the message and the discussion got lost in. But it's better to actually confront those issues and have that conversation rather than let it simmer and resentment be the poison that gets in the blood of a team or any organisation.
And you strive in a team and you always have these conversations where you bang on about we're going to be honest and open with each other and we can say what we think all the time and that's okay and no one's going to take it personally. And it's really hard to actually get to that point where people can have those conversations. I don't know if it's a girl thing.
Hashtag leading teams.
But we're just...
Hashtag leading teams.
We can be bloody precious girls because it gets all a bit emotional and it gets a bit hard sometimes to have those
I reckon the idea of that, the theory of that and the reality, way different.
Yeah,
look, what we're going to do is we're all going to be really honest. We're going to take it really well. We're not going to personalise it. I'm going to tell you why you're shit house. You're going to take it on board, take action, and we'll be great. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off. That's just doesn't work. Because you can say, it's like the moment you say to someone, look, don't take this the wrong way.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boom.
Yeah.
Boom. They're already
offense.
offended. They're already defensive. They've already taken it. You know what I mean? It is... I think the idea of that, I think it will work for some people. It won't work for others. And there is no, especially with behavioural psychology and communication and leadership and people management, there is no, you can't sit everyone in a room and go, this is the single plan that we're using and everybody will respond well to this model.
Rule number 1, Todd, put your pants back on.
Yeah.
Stop weeing in your mouth and fucking eyes to me, dumbass. Okay, let's just start with inappropriate behaviour. Up on the whiteboard, pissing in your gob. Okay, Toddy? Just from now on, no.
Cut that out.
Yeah. A little bit funny, but probably not going to go down that well.
We've been in team debriefs after a game, and so when we all go around, we're meant to give ourselves a score out of 10 as to our performance.
Does anyone give themselves a 10?
Never. Because, and
Well,
maybe this is a girl
that's-
thing too. Girls will be like I could have played. No, I played really well, but I'll be like, 6 out of 10, because everyone wants their teammates to go, no, you were great, B. Like, you played so well. But we had this point where we were meant to say to each other, Craig said, you might have shot 60%. You gave yourself an 8 out of 10. We're all meant to go, no, you're not that. You didn't do what you should have done. These behaviours you didn't show, blah, 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 blah. That's the point that they want us to get to at the end of a game. And that's quite an exhausting process, if you can imagine, to try and analyse each other like that when you're still trying to cope with your performance and what's happening.
Do you think that
hard
stuff
work.
like that, and I've been involved at elite level sport as well, clearly not as an athlete, but I wonder if that stuff actually does, for the time, energy, money, and emotional investment, whether it actually creates any positive outcomes over the long term.
Oh, 80% of me likes it, 20% doesn't. And the reason I like it is because I
Can you
keep
push that mic closer to your gob, or your
Is that better?
gob closer to the mic? Yep,
I'm
go
too
on.
tall. I don't even know what I was saying.
Yeah, 80% of me likes
Oh,
it.
yeah, I like it because it kind of gives you something to aim for, because you're never going to get perfection. Like, what's the point in aiming to be 100% perfect? It's never going to
Are
happen.
you not better off just to look at the stats? Because that's you've
No,
just
but it
there
doesn't
you've got,
tell a
but
story.
otherwise you've got opinion. Then do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
if you're
well,
just
if they're
looking
going,
at stats, like, what's it going to show us in all positions on the court?
well,
Isn't it as much about the relationship with the other players in the team as well, and
Yeah.
whether they trust and respect what you do?
Yeah, and you're for the team first. You just want everyone to be for the team first, and that's probably one of the hardest things to get to. But if you've shot 100%, yet you've spent your whole game chatting back to the umpires, like just having a shit attitude and being annoying, that's not productive for the team just because your stats say that you've played well.
especially if you only had 7 shots on goal.
That's exactly right.
So you're
But
7 for
but
7.
some athletes will look at that, will come straight off and be like, yep, perfect. I shot 7 out of 7.
Yeah,
I did what I needed to do.
yeah.
It's all about me.
It's all about me.
So post sport,
Mm.
anything that you miss really?
Sometimes I miss that competitiveness, like that drive that you have within you as an athlete. Like where I love
Take it out on the road. Just cut people off. And race
Start
them at the
beating my
lights.
horn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Francis and I have that competitive. Both. We don't look finely tuned, but fuck, you should see us.
Oh, wait, look at
You
you.
should. Oh,
Jesus.
my back's
You
rooted.
spent-
I'm sitting with a cushion behind me. I feel 400 years old.
Yeah, I miss the competitiveness, sort of.
Right.
And like just generally being around the girls all the time, but I do that anyway. So
Coaching.
I
Coaching.
don't know.
Coaching.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, coaching.
I don't want to get back into the lifestyle where all your weekends are taken up by netball, and that's what you have to do as a coach.
Just takes up your whole life, doesn't it?
Oh,
We
and
haven't got a bloke because
how do you know?
I read on Twitter.
Oh.
Have you got a bloke?
Status update.
Have you got a bloke? Because I know you are.
Yep.
No one's going to listen to this, but you generally have a stable.
Oh, that is such a lie.
You said I tend to run a rotation. Oh, look at you.
Oh God.
You have a 3 or 4
That
man
is
rotation.
such a lie.
Look at you. 3 or 4 man rotation, usually ranked in order of quality.
Yeah.
Best being on Saturdays, going downhill from there. That's what you told me.
So if Bianca calls you on a Tuesday, you know where you stand.
Can I walk
If you
out?
get a Thursday gig, you're a dud.
That is the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. I'm not answering any questions from
You
now
don't
on
have
in
to. Just
about
write
that.
it down.
That's right. Just who is Saturday? Hey, I wanted to ask you, Francis,
Yes, Craig.
what was the first year that you got into, or when did you start in radio? And when you started in radio, did you ever think that it would evolve to where it is now, and that there would be things like people doing not this
Oh,
particular
no.
one,
So my
but people doing podcasts at a mate's house that are getting 4 or 5 million listens?
I started in the dark old days. So my very first radio experience was in 1982. Wow, long time ago, isn't it? God, I'm old. And that was when I was a
It's the
4
year I was born.
Yeah, 14-year-old boy.
Wow.
And that 3PBS, which is still a great public radio station in Melbourne, used to have a thing called the Student Access Program on a Sunday morning between 6 and 9. And so uppity little school students could come and have some airtime. So me and a couple of the guys at Derry College, Broadmeadows, were really into music, and we
Yeah.
had one of our David, my good friend Dave Rowland, his big sister used to drive us down to St Kilda.
Yeah.
Because PBS at that stage was in the top end of the old Prince of Wales building, which is a real life education for a 14-year-old boy from Broadmeadows. We would turn up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and I'd walk up these stairs in a stinky old hotel, which became much. I spent a lot of time there later on, watching bands and
post
whatnot.
14.
Yeah, post 14. And all these pictures of women on the walls with big Adam's apples, and occasionally all dressed up and makeup, and what's going on here? And occasionally we would run into them coming up the stairs. Hello, lovey.
Hello, Francis. How are you? It's Carlotta.
Exactly. It was drag queens. They didn't have drag queens in Broadmeadows.
No.
So it was a life education going there. So we used to go in there and play our records and stuff. And we were passionate and still are about music. And
where was your first grown-up gig?
Got the bug.
Your first grown-up real
Where
deal?
someone actually paid
yeah,
you some
we're going to
money?
give you some money to sit and talk.
Well, that was in 1989. I was doing mid-dawns on Triple J, and I was doing them from Melbourne to Sydney. So it was like before the network went national, they were testing the lines and stuff. So I would go in there on a Monday morning and do 1 till 6.
What do you love the most, sport or music?
Both, but both have given me enormous pleasure
Yeah.
over the years. Absolutely.
And for those who've been living under a rock, of
Yeah.
course, Francis is on Melbourne's home of Sport 1116, SEN, all sport all day, every morning between 6 and 9 with the Ox.
The Ox is a great man. So, yeah, both I've had enormous success in that sense that I've been able to stay employed the entire time as a broadcaster.
And that's where on social media, not to pump you up just because you're here, but when I follow like what you write on social media, it just shows your enormous range of knowledge across music,
I'm just
sport,
faking it.
everything.
Yeah.
Like I was blown away sometimes when what you're talking about. I'm like, I don't even know how you know all of that.
Smartest man in radio.
I'm just
Yeah.
That's what's
faking
on
it.
his business card. Well, I
Yeah.
read that and I went, oh, not cocky, but
Yeah, good
Work.
work.
So I've been incredibly lucky that I've been able to work across all those areas. And broadcasting, I love the immediacy of it. I love the interactive nature of it. It's really, it survives. So yeah, podcasting now is a brilliant thing. I love podcasts. I've been listening to lots and lots of them, a bit like yourself and probably you too, Bianca. And it gives you access to things all over the world. So the current, the US election season is on. So out of National Public Radio in the US, I'm
I was going to ask you about this, but I thought,
lots
I'm
and
too dumb.
Yeah,
I'm
me
too,
too.
I don't.
I just thought the same thing. I
It's
was
like,
like, oh, I don't know.
I thought, let's ask Francis about it. And then I thought, it's going to be like me looking in the engine bay of a car and a mechanic explaining to me. I'm going, all right.
Just
Anyway, so
tell me who's going to be the president.
At the moment, look, I think Hillary's in the best position to do it, but Donald Trump is, as they say in the States, torn the rule book up, the playbook on how to run for president. So
What are your thoughts just quickly on okay, let's just crystal
Let's go
ball it
there.
and go Donald's
Let's go
in
to the
power.
Donald.
Is that as terrifying as it feels?
yeah, absolutely. That's America giving up on its political system altogether.
Wow.
I was in the States throughout December and early January just watching bits of it unfold. And it is like a reality TV show now. It's become such that people are looking for the next insult from
It's like
Trump.
he's a parody of a politician.
He is. There's a couple of great films. There's one film called Bullworth, which Warren Beatty was in the
I
early
remember that,
90s,
yeah.
where he raps his way. His campaign is so shit,
Yeah.
so completely shit. He's got one card to play, so he decides he's going to rap his entire campaign, and it's incredibly successful. It's a bit like that now. With Trump, he just continues to go to the next level of outrage in order to keep the campaign alive. And people are so pissed off with the political process in the United States, they're egging him on. So it's a little frightening because who knows what he's capable of if he would have become president. But I don't think that he could win in the general election because I think the people that are engaged with the process now are only a very small percentage of the wider population who will mobilise for sanity. Vote for sanity if he were to be the nominee.
I know that you're a political animal, so I just want to ask you one question that I've asked lots of other people. I don't understand from a credibility and a likability point of view why politicians come out and essentially just shit can each other. Like, it doesn't make me like them. It doesn't
no.
engage me. I think less of them, even if they're right. Like, it seems
It doesn't
to be,
need to be that way, and it isn't. I mean, I'm a massive fan of the current president, President Obama. He doesn't engage in that sort of...
He doesn't, does he?
doesn't.
No,
And
I
he's-
think he's great.
He's a little bit cooler and a little detached, and I think that has, to his detriment, means that hasn't argued his case as well as he probably could. But this thing is extraordinary now. The debate that was held on Friday a week back was just an insult fest, and there were some moments in this 2-hour debate where you couldn't... It sounded like... kids screaming in a car. It was just out of control, and it
Does
doesn't.
no one say to them, look, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you look like a pack of fuckwits? Like, seriously, it is...
Here's
it-
$1 million to go
Oh,
out and campaign even further.
Yeah, but there's nothing appealing or interesting or uplifting or engaging. It is just annoying.
But isn't
and
it the
there's no
wide-
respect.
The wider culture of confrontation and spectacle is now the selling point in the world. So
Yeah,
even with
just
something like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, it's all about trying to look for the next outrage, look for the next confrontation, look for something to...
Yeah.
And it's a culture of sensation.
Yeah.
And that's what we sort of... And spectacle.
Yeah.
Spectacle is everything now.
What? And because it's instant too, it's
Yeah.
there, it's in front of us, and it's happening. What's your favourite reality show, Craig?
I don't
Do you
really...
just not watch any?
I like things...
The
I watched a
Kardashians?
thing... No. I'd punch myself in the face before I'd watch that. I like kind of survival things, but I watched a thing that ended a month or two back. I think it was on SBS, and it was about they took 30 blokes who were just blokes, just like Francis and I, like a plumber, a taxi driver, a martial artist, a bunch of randoms, and they put them through the SAS training program.
Whoa.
Oh yes, I watched that. That
Oh
was
my
amazing.
God! And these guys, it was the reality TV show that was not like a reality TV show. You know, it's cheesy, it's bullshitty. There were blokes crying, there were blokes breaking down.
How
there
many of
was
them made it?
2.
It was
Two.
actually
And
incredible.
Incredible. And there was one guy in there who was built like Superman. Do you remember him?
Yep.
John.
Yeah.
John, and he was like bloody ripped and rock hard and
Ready to go.
black belt in this and da. Well, he was a dud because he had the heart of a pussy. But he kind of got a fair way in just purely on his physiology. But then there was another guy. The guy that finally got through was a martial arts teacher, but very humble and quiet and self-deprecating and flew under the radar.
Yeah, you would never have picked him from the start when you saw them all.
That's
did
right.
you?
And
Yeah.
another guy, I can't remember
What
his...
broke most of them?
the relentlessness of it all. Like, it was relentless. They'd go, they've just done 18 hours of shit, and they go, all right, boys, well done, go to bed.
And then whack.
And then, like,
Yeah.
25 minutes, lights on, sirens blaring, get up, you fucking... it's like...
Craig used to do that to us on pre-season camp.
That is true. That is true.
4 a.m. in the morning.
I took these girls, so we'll come back to that. But yeah, and it was just there. It was relentless, and I think the thing is that the physiology. You would think it would be mostly about that, but it was really around emotional and psychological strength and resilience, and just being able to deal with unpredictable, unfamiliar, unpleasant, uncomfortable, ongoing shit all the time, and being totally adaptable.
A lot of them broke too when they were just like they were blindfolded and they were in this room, like basically just a room that had nothing in it, and they'd lie them on the ground or they'd move them and make them stand up against the wall, and it was all night that they were doing this.
Yeah.
And you would think, well, you know what, you're not physically being harassed that much doing this, but that's what broke a lot of them, was because it was just that mental, I don't know what's going to happen next, I can't see.
And a complete loss of control.
That's right.
Yes.
And there was no TV people in it. All of the guys in it. There was not like, and now here's Brian, the host. We're crossing back to him.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it looks like John's struggling. There was none of that. There was just, I think, 5 SAS trainers who were all badasses and all as hard as cats'
And that
heads.
chick, the girl, the one that manipulated them,
yeah.
she would have conversations with them, but, I'm going to tell you all of this, but then would go off on another tangent, and they would all be like, can I trust you? Can I not? Like, they had no idea.
Yeah,
And
she was
she broke them.
Yeah, she was like super sweet, and they're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then, and they're like, in the interrogation, hey, do you want a lolly?
Yeah.
Hey, do you want a bit of chocolate?
You're not allowed to touch that.
Because they've eaten nothing for 36 hours, and they're having a chat. Oh, by the way, here's a chocolate. And the other thing that they did, and this guy that won the martial arts dude, I forget his name, but they, in one of the interrogations, they said, here's a satellite phone. You've got 2 minutes to go and call one of your family members if you want. And they all went, yeah, bloody oath, I'm in. And then he went, nah, thanks.
Don't
And
want
they're
to
like,
be...
really?
don't,
Nah, I don't want to open that emotional door. I'm good, thanks. And I'm like, he's going to win.
That's right.
Because he's like, me talking to my family or my wife or my loved one, that ain't going to help me right there. That's going to be a setback. And he recognised that in the moment. And I thought,
Wow, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah, it's like,
Wow.
he's, so that's the long-winded answer to your question.
Okay, so good. So you do embrace some
So what about
reality.
you?
It's a
do
long
you-
way from Cake Boss, which is the one I like.
Oh, Cake Boss.
What is that?
Cake Boss. Cake Boss is a New Jersey cake store that he gets all these requests to make all these wacky cakes, and Evie and I love
Really?
watching that.
I've never heard of it.
Cake Boss.
Is
So
it
it's
on
great.
Fox?
Yeah, it's fantastic. So
Oh,
you know,
wow.
you
Well,
can-
I don't have cable. I'm saving up for cable. So
And if you,
Shut
and I
up.
know that people like you and I with a sweet tooth and try not to eat a lot of cakes, but I do like watching them. So he made, you know, one of my favourite ones. He had and it was even better because in New Jersey, sort of like, you know, sanitation company was, you know, basically code for mafia. Had to make this.
spoken authorised by Francis Leach. Thoughts of Francis Leach and not endorsed by this program or the producer or Bianca Jones
You know,
Hatfield.
it's tip truck cakes, and you know, he made a space shuttle cake, and
That's
all
cool.
sorts of stuff.
Well, those people
Thick
are
cake decorating.
Well, Jackie Lauder, who I do Sunday Science of Sport with, she is a high-level cake maker decorator. You wouldn't know,
Right.
like ridiculous.
So they're like pieces of art.
they're
aren't
like
they?
like she'll make a train
Yeah, she could be on
with-
Cake Boss.
with people in the train. With it looks like it's a fabricated
So
thing.
does she do it as a job or as a
No,
hobby?
she
or?
just does it.
And
it's
it being a
unbelievable.
Melbourne train, it'll always arrive 10 minutes late.
That's
Tish
exactly
Boom.
right.
Boom.
Tish Bomb.
Kardashians is my favourite reality show.
it?
Is it
Yeah.
really?
And I know you're looking at me like, oh God, is that how deep you are?
What do you like about it?
Well, I like that you watch it and you just completely switch off from the world and you're entertained
And give up on
by
humanity.
their lives.
Just like pull the plug.
Yeah,
on.
but
I've
they
never watched
are-
an episode, so but is it? I've never watched a minute. So is it real though? Like,
Well,
is
I'm
it,
sure there's
is this
a lot
really
of
just them?
staged parts, but I think a lot of it is just them, and that's why they have made a lot out of it, because they talk about every issue, anything that happens, the cameras are always there. What I do appreciate, though, is how they have become these incredible entrepreneurs in making the most of what they've got.
Right.
So they've got this fame, and all of a sudden they've got all these businesses that come off their fame, and I just think good on them for making the most of it.
This is how it's going to start for us with this.
Oh
This
yeah.
podcast. This is the
Yeah.
first
That's
step.
right.
This is the
We
genesis.
got nothing empire.
Actually, does that piss you off a little bit that, one, we're going to make it from this, but two, that people can just start their own podcast now and
I think it's fantastic.
get careers in what has
No,
always been something you've had to
No,
work
I
so
think
hard
it's
for?
brilliant because you still have to be good at what you do. And the best
Wow.
podcast that I've heard is an example
Is
of
this
great.
one?
Yeah, we're going after you, Sarah Koenig. But Serial, the podcast Serial.
Oh, yeah,
out
that
of-
was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the second series is on at the moment, and it's great journalism. She's got the whole team has a fantastic narrative sense. They tell a story really well, and it's just utterly compelling. And I listen to that and I go, shit, I'd like to be able to make radio that good. So no, the really good ones, you know, all power to it, and it's great to be able to access it from all over the world.
Yeah,
and
it
there's a
is.
lot of dross out there as well, but that's life. Huh?
So do your SEN morning shows, are they podcasts?
Yeah, we
as
chuck
well?
it up there as well.
Yep.
We're everywhere.
Hey, Bianca, you know Bruce? What's his name? His new name? Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin Jenner.
Caitlin.
Are you thinking about it?
Well, look, I'm thinking. Look good with some titties. That's what I'm thinking. Let's be honest.
Let's
No, I'm
talk
not
about that.
No, I'm not thinking that. No, I like my whizzer. I want to keep it exactly where it is. Is he down there? Is that still? I don't
I
is that
don't know.
Still there? Is
I'm
it
not
still?
sure. I've
Is
not
it
really-
still part of him, or is that departed?
I don't know is my
Right.
answer.
Right.
I don't think he's
What do we think about him winning Woman of the Year?
Yeah.
What's how's
the
that going?
same as Black Caviar winning female athlete of
Right.
the year.
So, the most worthy woman in inverted commas in America was him. Okay. I wonder what her. Sorry,
Well,
her.
I believe the
I
award
wonder what the criteria was.
just wanted to get
for
some
that.
attention, because you know what? If the Kardashians or the Jenners are involved, you get the attention.
Yeah. Oh no, I think she should be allowed to do what, and it's great, and I support that. But I just don't know about Woman of the Year. Surely there's a few other women that might be doing some good stuff.
Oh, exactly.
I don't know. Feeding the homeless. I don't know.
Oh, there would be so
curing
many-
cancer. Anything.
The people that don't have the fame that are doing all these incredible
Well,
things.
that's another example of, you know, and gender reassignment's a separate issue in terms of the award, but the idea that her celebrity is a gateway to some sort of great success for others. I don't know. Yes, it becomes about identifying with the cause rather than actually looking at the achievements.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's a bit of a worry.
So
Yeah,
would
well.
you go into the jungle on your own reality show?
It doesn't
The
interest me.
jungle.
Would
That-
you
that-
go if
no.
they said, Craig, we'll pay
know-
you
you know what
20
drives
grand
me
a
nuts
week and
about
you were going to put you in the jungle?
Can I just say, having spent a fair bit of time in Africa, those people are not in a jungle.
No.
They're on I think they're on a savannah somewhere in South Africa, which is, it's actually not a jungle.
But
No.
would you do
It's
it?
just a pedant.
Well, they've been followed
And
also
warning-
by lighting people.
Would you
and
do it
camera people.
20K a week
To make an absolute tit of
to
myself.
go in there?
No.
And you wouldn't do it?
Nah. Because I just have to do stuff that's
I don't
beneath you.
think I would either.
No.
50, I would. Not 20.
50K?
To
I
be
know that
with
sounds.
Fev and Warney? No.
No? No?
I don't think I would
Definitely
either. I couldn't be bothered going into the jungle.
Yeah. Oh, well. Now, I was going to. Just when we were backtracking a little bit about you and radio, I
Yeah.
was going to say to you, you must be happy with the resurgence in vinyl.
I love it.
You're like, what
I
What
love
is
it.
it? I wanted to ask a music person, a boffin, is the sound different? Is it better? Surely it can't possibly be better than digital.
No, it depends what you're listening for. So even with at my age and stage, your ears probably aren't good enough to hear the nuances of it. But it's the aesthetic. I love the package.
The
I-
tactility of it.
Yes. And there is nostalgia about it because I do have an extensive record collection full of vinyl records. But I love that it comes with sleeve notes and a big cover and it smells great and you can feel it and touch it. And it does demand a different listening experience because you have to literally be approximate to the record to listen to it.
That's right.
And you have to actually get up and turn it over. And the artist does dictate the format. You can't skip the tracks. It's a really different listening experience. And, so when you bought an album, it was track 1 to 5 and 5 to 10 or, and in sequence. Whereas with an iPod or a digital player, you go, no, I don't like that one. Bang, 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 you can flick through. So I think it's completely changed, and that's okay for some people, the context of the way you listen. But I love that. I love that about it. So, I'm a big fan of it.
It's so trendy at the moment too.
I find it hilarious.
Uber cool.
Isn't it? I'm going a little bit rock whiz now, but first album, or most influential album for
the
you when you were
first-
young.
The first one that I bought with my own cash, that's a good question. What was it? It was probably U2's Boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember- do you
going to Maya in the city?
You too.
Yeah.
Boy. Do you remember that?
The very
I don't
that's,
remember that.
That's their very
Um,
first record.
Yeah, well,
No.
what are you? My shoes are older than
Before
you.
Bianca was born.
How old are you? 32.
32.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is 1981, 82.
Yeah,
so
I
I
was
remember.
born in 82.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so probably didn't buy it. Yeah.
No.
and I had got a gift voucher for Christmas and went into Myer and bought 3 or 4 records. I bought that. I bought a Cure album. I bought an Excess record and a Joy Division album. And I was like, wow, that's my summer sorted out.
That's you.
So
That was
places
it.
like mine that wouldn't even have
records
records
anymore.
or
no,
CDs
but
or
they
anything,
but
do
they
they?
could, they would now. They
Yeah,
probably could
go
if they
back
could put
into
a
it,
vinyl
yeah.
Well, a little
record.
known fact about me, I worked in 116 Liverpool Street, Hobart, Brashes
Brashes.
/ Allens, and I sold
Really?
records and cassettes.
Was that your
Excellent.
first job?
1982. That's right, coming at you live from Brashes here. Just selling heaps of shit.
What was the album that was walking out the door most?
Okay, very good. So, Tattoo You, Rolling
Yep.
Stones.
Yep.
Big.
Last decent Stones album.
Yeah.
Everything seems to
Believe
be
it or
cool.
not, I don't even know why I remember this. And punch me in the face because I don't want to say it. Dan Fogelberg, leader
Dan
of the band.
Fogelberg.
Yep.
Where were you working again?
Allens
In
in Liverpool Street. No, Hobart.
in Hobart. Oh, Folkies in Hobart. Yeah.
And
Well,
also, what was that? It'll come to me. Foreigner 4.
Foreigner 4.
Foreigner 4 was killing
Bit
it.
of Urgent. Bit of
Blondie, Heart of Glass, was
Yep.
killing it. This is
Parallel Lines.
1982, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
going along with it.
I've got a ridiculous memory for stuff like this. I can even tell you the colour of, WEA, Polygram, RCA,
Took my language, Craig.
Festival. They all had different bag colours, right? So EMI, they all had their own colour bags. So you'd go and you'd look, and you'd go, oh, all right, it's Festival, so it's in a blue bag. So you'd go and look for it. You'd get out the record, you'd flip it around, you'd look at it.
Beautiful.
And then you'd slide it in the cover. Francis, your heart rate would be going up now, wouldn't it? And then you just, and you'd get out the little cloth
Yeah.
and make sure it's got no marks. You flip
No
it around. You
scratches.
don't put your fingers on the bloody
it's the
thing. It's
best
just,
thing ever.
oh yeah.
How much were you paid now for that job?
I think I was paid about $9. Thought I was just killing it too.
Really?
Absolutely. Foreigner 4. Wow, that was a long, long time ago.
It was. a good
Bianca,
What?
what's coming up for you this week?
What is coming up
How
for
do you?
me?
What do you do now that you? What do you do really? I said you're a property developer and a mogul and a media commentator. How do you fill your days?
I'm
Send a link.
Yeah. That might be easy sometimes. Okay, so I'm
Give us a
doing
snapshot.
lots of things. Players Association, Netball Players Association.
Do
I'm
you
currently
get paid for that?
in charge of that. Well, I just went to the Netball Australia board and got some funding. So
Hey, well done you.
now
Go
I'm
you.
doing that.
Good.
Setting up a bit of a structure there. Opening an F45 gym.
Of course you are. What's an F45 gym? He asked curiously, not knowing at all.
Functional fitness sessions, group training sessions.
Give it a plug. What is it? So is it like CrossFit? Is it like Zumba?
No.
Is it like what is it like?
It is
Tell us.
not like CrossFit at all. So it's circuit style training, any level of fitness, and it's high intensity. Work
Can you bring
hard.
back a bit of Reebok pump? Seeing that we're
Look,
talking.
I will. If
Oh,
you come
yeah.
down and do a class, I'll bring
Cardio
it back.
funk,
Craig's going to
Cardio
come down and be a trainer.
heavy D. Now that we've found love, what are you going to rev me up, little buttercup?
Oh, you just blew my
Did you-
mind.
Did you have that down at Harper's?
Yeah. What else? What else? Are you
Um,
doing any commentary for the
commentary
Netty?
for the
Who's that
Netty?
for ABC?
That's for Fox and Channel 10.
Francis's last
so
employer, the ABC.
The ABC.
Hello, Auntie.
We've moved on from the ABC now.
Right.
And what else? I've got an online leadership program, the Ignition Project, which we wrote a book for. So we're
Yep.
doing the editing for the book at the moment.
You and
Lee Russell is my business partner
What's
in
the
the
book
Ignition
called?
Project. Game On,
when's it out?
bitches.
Game On,
No,
bitches.
without the
Oh,
bitches.
now.
You
part.
so should have put bitches in there.
So done. Would have been awesome.
I'm not sure
Not
the
too
publisher
late.
would have been loving that.
Well, when I wrote Stop Fucking Around,
Yeah.
and then Penguin came to me and said, we want another version of that, but without fuck on the front cover because you can't have it. I went, well, clearly you can because I did it, right? So they came up and bless them and hello, Penguin, and thank you. But our relationships ended temporarily. But they said, we'll come up with something similar and punchy and cheeky and in your face. And they came up with Pull Your Finger Out, which is the lamest title ever.
Yeah.
I'm
But you
not
still
lamest.
did it, too.
Well,
though,
yeah,
didn't
but
you?
what, yeah, no.
After
Well,
all of that, you said
no,
yes.
but what I mean was, well, yeah, and it's a good book. It's actually better than the other book. But like the Stop Fucking Around outsold it 3 or 4 to 1.
Yeah.
So there's something in a title. Is my long-winded
writing
point.
a book is the extensive process, far more than I ever thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, people think you just sit down, crank it
Bloody
out 3
hell.
or 4 weeks, and then just ring up a publisher and go, "Hey, I've got great news for you. I've got a book." Yeah, good luck with that.
And all these people who thought I was a dumbass and had a ghostwriter, no, we actually wrote it ourselves. August we signed the contract and we'd handed the script in December.
Wow,
How
that's
funny
good
is
going.
that? People ask me that too. Who wrote your stuff? I go,
Yes.
what?
And
They're
I
like,
know I'm not that good at it, but at least I gave it a go.
how many pages?
We were 47,000 words.
47,000 words.
That's
So I'm
almost a
going to guess.
PhD.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is.
Longest assignment
Are
I've
you going
ever
to write a
done in
book
my
one day,
life.
Frank? And what will it be on?
Well, see, people keep
Have you
asking.
already got
no,
one?
No, look, it's like being. There are lots of good books out there. Why does the world need a shit one? So I'm not going to do one
I
until
don't
I've got a
believe
good
yours.
idea.
Yeah, well, yeah, true.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd have a lot of knowledge for a book.
All right.
But
Well, I
there's so many
reckon.
good writers. That world doesn't need a shit one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of rubbish. Right,
Yeah.
there are a lot of rubbish
But
books.
it's like
you,
podcasts, though. Everyone can do an ebook now.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's open to everybody.
well, but that's the thing. Like with Frank, when you said before, does it bother you that anyone? I kind of get that, but the thing is that it's got to be good. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter what resources and tech they've got available. If the product's shit, nobody's going to listen.
And
If
can
the-
I just say that we got nothing, has crossed that threshold. this is just the best. So
Why don't you wrap this bitch up?
well, we got nothing. Episode 1 is done.
It's done.
It is done.
It is finished.
We have set this ship a sail.
And for the 4 of you who are listening, big thumbs up to
Yep,
you.
You are part of history.
We love you.
Let us know what you want to talk about. Are you going to come back for number 2?
Yeah, oh, sure.
tell you what,
sure. Put
we-
me on the spot. I'll be back.
We won't pay you,
Oh, okay.
but when we get sponsors, hey, if you want to sponsor this show,
I'll take 100%. Thanks.
all right. See you next time, Frankie.
ya.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Bianca.
Nothing. Bye.